Amidst the dense Acadian forest, a geotechnical equipment company produces the most advanced deformation measuring and monitoring instrumentation in the world. It is a somewhat unlikely setting, but there is a lot about Measurand and its history that is unlikely. Today, Measurand is a leader in developing and manufacturing instrumentation for geotechnical deformation monitoring. But it wasn't always like this. Let's rewind things back.
When we started, it was 1993. I had some technology for fiber optic sensing I had developed previously, so I started Measurand with the idea of making some sensors. It was a pretty vague notion.
Early on, we were making fiber optic sensors for the motion capture industry.
That worked really well, but motion capture industry is a very difficult one.
Back in 2002, Measurand was invited to present their products at a conference in St. John's, Newfoundland. We didn't have products for the geotechnical industry, but we went anyway. We finally got in touch with Tarek Abdoun.
It was mostly Dr. Abdoun who found some R&D money to help us develop new sensors that were suitable for what he wanted to do. Anyway, I had to ask him, what do geotechnical engineers do? I had never heard of them before.
And I thought it was crazy that we would put fiber optic sensors in the ground, but Tarek Abdoun kind of kept pushing for products. We went away from fiber optics into more traditional MEMS acceleration type sensors. That was the origin of the ShapeArray product.
ShapeArray, like almost all our products, is a collection of a whole bunch of sensors, and it's an instrumented flexure. So a flexure is something like a garden hose. We're able to put that down into a borehole and have it sense to amazing accuracy. I'm still impressed by what the sensors can do.
You have to produce measurements that are accurate to sub-millimeter. That's the most amazing part, I think.
In Minnesota in 2012, we had two ShapeArrays next to a 4-lane highway measuring a slope down to a river. The ShapeArrays measured such an increase in the rate of movement that the Minnesota Department of Transportation decided they should close the highway and divert all traffic. That highway collapsed due to a landslide about 10 days later. It dropped 3 meters and would have posed a serious risk to public safety.
It's wonderful to be able to turn all of that together, from including the technology, and also have an important safety aspect.
When I started here, there was probably about 15 people that were working here, and we didn't really have departments.
People kind of had a lot of freedom and could develop things on their own, which seemed like a good idea, but I always felt I should be doing more in terms of maybe directing them what to do. Then I read a book that says, no, it's people generally are pretty good at finding their own way and doing well.
Measurand employees, I think, are people who are striving always to improve ourselves. We want to make sure that we're always providing the best quality product, and I think the people we hire have those qualities.
We've moved somewhat more toward organization as we grow, but I think it's been really helpful to remember some of the lessons from that book and from our experience.
Measurand personifies this fantastic place to work, and that really values their staff.
So even if an operator comes up with a better way of doing something I never thought of, that's fantastic, and I want to implement that to make everybody happier.
We do a lot of social events. We have committees that focus on safety, improvement. Anything that's brought up, you can put a suggestion in the suggestion box and someone's going to look at it, and if it's something that we can do, we're going to do it.
That's the kind of culture I've tried to create in Measurand.
Well, it's been an interesting 25 years, certainly.
We're staged now for more growth going into the future. There is an element of chance in these things, like who knew that Dr. Abdoun would come along and push us into a better market.
I actually have no idea where we're going next. I just can't wait to be told what we are going to be doing.
I want to make sure that all the work I've done technically and and that I've had a lot of help with here in the company gets carried on, and that we don't just evolve to selling the same product and not bothering with any new developments for the future.
Who knows what the future holds for Measurand, but one thing is certain. Measurand will continue to grow and its products will continue to evolve.
What happened to Measure Andy?